Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 9 of the Timist Podcast Series. My name is James, and I am the Timist and the host of the thing you're currently listening to. In this episode, Conor and I talk about the importance of knowing what we're signing up for as watch enthusiasts, especially when considering certain watch brands. Like, what do you do when you want to order a new bracelet for your watch? Or get it serviced, or be educated on the watch functions from the perspective of having purchased it from either the AD versus the gray market. To close things out, we open up Instagram and do our best to help answer some of the questions that you sent in. All this and more. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a snack as we get started. Hey Conor, it's us. It's happening again. We're back here. How's it going?
Fluid and smooth intro as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are back. It's true.
I practiced.
No, I could tell.
Thank you.
Also, I walked in on you earlier and you said that like 3 times in a row.
That's a lie. That is not true.
It's not so much a lie as it is not the truth and a statement I made up.
Isn't omitting something just as bad?
No, it's not. But thank you for asking.
Fine. You got me. I'm excited for today. Are you excited?
Stoked.
Do you know the topic?
No.
Well, let's dive right into it. I'm just going to skip over what watch we're wearing. Is that okay?
I'm wearing the same watch I wore last time.
I'm also wearing the same watch I wore last time.
Tune in last episode for the last watch we wore.
Previously on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the Citizen ProMaster. You're wearing the...
I thought we were skipping this. I'm wearing the Speedmaster.
I can't help it.
Mine's Hasselblad glass. And it's not that scratch. Everyone needs to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
question.
it's not Sapphire, but look, it's not that bad.
Because you're going to space.
I'm going to space.
I believe you. Can I ask you a quick question?
No, your Silver Snoopy cannot go to space.
Yes, it can.
No, it can't. It's got sapphire glass.
It can go to space.
It's got sapphire glass.
Well,
that stuff breaks apart. And it's fragments of razor sharp sapphire.
Only if something bad happens.
It's space.
Space does not kill sapphire.
Gravity does. Oh wait, lack of gravity does.
I win. I win.
Okay. You think you're better than NASA?
I love NASA. I would never think such things. Can I ask you a question?
Is it about Hasselblad versus Sapphire?
It's not.
Okay, then yeah.
But it is about your watch.
Oh.
Did you service it since the last time we did this? Did you need a sip of your drink there?
That's not serviced yet.
I will say 3 words to you. Do you know what they are?
I love you.
That goes without saying. The 3 words are lead by example.
What if, hear me out,
Okay.
I led by suggestion? Where instead of actions, it's more of like an idea that I had that I'm not going to do. I am going to do it, just not in a timely manner. But I encourage others to do it.
So the man that has multiple watches will not do something in a timely manner.
But you should.
I see.
Yeah, that's clear.
Clear as mud.
Maybe it's like leading by example of what not to do.
I'll tell you what not to do.
Yeah. You should service your watch, unlike me. And then I hold up like, it's just like 2 links held together. It's smoldering wreck.
It's ticking 3 times every 4 seconds.
The second hand goes backwards sometimes. Pretty cool.
It's a Doctor Who watch. It's really cool. Shall we jump into the topic?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, here's the topic. It is know what you're signing up for.
I'm intrigued.
I'll give you some more context.
Okay, cool.
So basically, know what you're signing up for is when you're going with a brand, that comes with its own baggage, right? For instance, let's use cars as an example.
Your favorite.
My favorite. If you're buying an Aston Martin, you can't just take it to your local garage to get an oil change, right? You need to take it to a specialist. You need to take it to Aston Martin, the people that have the tools and the parts from the factory and have the experience to do it right. Now, let's take this and talk about the watch world.
Yeah, okay. I like the car analogy.
Thank you.
I'm wondering what other analogies you have, just in general. Not now. Okay. I am just wondering about it.
Okay.
But check it out. Let's play with this analogy a little bit.
Hit me.
The person who bought that Aston Martin.
Yes.
They didn't just want a car. They didn't just want a luxury car. They didn't just want a fast car. There's lots of those.
Yes.
They sought out and specifically purchased an Aston Martin.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because they've done that, they've gone out seeking this very exclusive, rare, and obviously expensive car. Now they're fully in the Aston Martin world.
Are they?
They are, because they can't go to that local garage. That local garage doesn't have the right parts, doesn't have the experience.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't have the knowledge.
Correct.
So They've bought in.
Yes.
And when you buy a very high-end watch, almost really any watch, to be honest with you, but a high-end watch, you're now bought in. You are in the world of this brand. Breitling, Rolex, IWC, Cartier, goes on and on and on. And your role with this watch, servicing, repairs, parts ordering, you got to do it through an authorized dealer, and you got to do it the way the brand has made the option available to you.
Now, I know you have experience in this field. Obviously, this is what you do for a living. Give me some examples, because it sounds like you have a few, maybe customers or people that have not quite grasped this concept that if you buy, let's say, a Rolex or a Royal Oak, what have you seen in your experience doing what you do?
Yeah, so when you acquire a piece, especially of, like, let's go with that AP, let's go with the Audemars. When you buy a piece of that kind of caliber, it's both very expensive and very nice, but most importantly, it's very exclusive, right? And the way it's intended to be purchased is through an AP boutique. You would go in and you would meet people and you would sit down and you would have conversations. Obviously, you know, you're probably not leaving that watch that day with a watch, but maybe you are, right? Doesn't matter. You're going to get to know people. They're going to tell you all about the brand, all about the product, what they stand for. They're going to get to know you. You're going to get to know them. And eventually, whether it's that day or many days or months later, when you acquire that piece, they're going to give you all the information you need about servicing, about other options for it, everything. And that knowledge is vital to your now future with this watch. When do I need to get it serviced? 5 years? 7 years? 10 years? Is that $1,000? $1,500? Is it included in the warranty? How long's the warranty? 2 years? 5 years? Right? All this information is vital. And when you don't have that information, it's hard to acquire it because you never made that relationship originally.
In the first place,
In the first place. You didn't buy it from Audemars. You bought it from whoever, which again, I'm not trying to shatter that. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. It's just no one has told you this information. Your focus was, I just want this one piece. I don't want a relationship with AP. I'm not trying to buy 20 APs. I'm not trying to buy my girlfriend one and my mom one. I'm not trying to buy other products sold at this place. This is all I want.
Or your best friend that you do a podcast with.
Yeah. Definitely not trying to get that guy to watch. No.
Okay.
No, please.
Forget that guy.
Yeah, absolutely forget that guy. So now you have this piece, which is awesome, and you go to your local watch shop and you say, hey, I want to buy an extra link. It's a little tight. Or I'm interested in the rubber strap. They can't get you that.
This is, let's say it's me. I bought the Royal Oak offshore from not Audemars Piguet. And now I want an extra link, but I also want to get the rubber strap because I think it's kind of cool. I can't come to you and be like, hey, Conor, so I got this AP, right? Pretty sick, right?
Sick watch, bro.
Thank you. Can you get me a rubber strap for it?
I'm AP right now?
You're not AP.
I'm not AP.
No.
Oh, I'm just regular me?
Yep.
Okay. No.
Rude.
I don't have the contract to buy those parts. I don't know what this model is. I'm unfamiliar with what you'll need. I don't have any expertise or potentially even specialty tools to install these pieces. I don't have any contract for how it works. And frankly, if you already had that link or that rubber strap, depending on what I'm looking at, I might not want to put it on for you because if something happens, if I scratch that link, I don't have the pipeline to get you one. We size watches all the time. I size watches every day. And I've gotten good at it. But hey, sometimes things happen. I'm a human.
Sometimes you had that third coffee you shouldn't have had.
Sometimes it's more than 3.
Now I'm worried for you.
I'll live forever. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
If I scratch that, I'm going to come out and I'm going to apologize. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so sorry. This is what happened. But don't worry. I'm going to get you another one. We're going to make this right. Because I have the pipeline to do that.
If you do, yeah.
Right. If it's a brand I work with and these are things I can attain. If I don't, I can't get you another one. So it's not worth the risk for me. As much as I'd like to help you out.
Yeah.
As much as I know that there is no AP in this neighborhood and that you don't have another option, even in this state we're in, even really in the Pacific Northwest at all, there is no AP. Your options are limited. And I'm aware of that. And I'm the guy who should be able to help you out. But the truth is, when you bought that watch, you joined a club.
Right. Hence the topic. Know what you're signing up for.
Know what you're signing up for,
Yeah.
because people aren't going to be able to help you out, except for if you had bought that from AP.
Yeah.
You'd have so-and-so's at AP number. They'd have your watch on file. They'd remember the coffee you had when you came in, because they're really good at their job. They're really good at clienteling. And they're going to welcome you into their club. And they're going to, oh, you need a link? Oh, of course. It's the 5712. Great. Of course. Yeah, I can get you that in a couple of weeks. Why don't you come in next Thursday? All this, because that's what they do and they're really good at it. But when you're not in that club, it's harder to do every single thing, to service that watch, to get extra parts, to understand how it works or why it's not working. A lot of the allure of these watches, AP, Patek particularly, is they're incredibly complicated. If you come to me with some sort of perpetual calendar and you're like, hey, how do I set this?
This thing, yeah.
I could probably pull it up on YouTube, but frankly, I don't really want to mess with it. And while I do work with extremely talented watchmakers, they're not trained on this model. It's not like intuitive to be like, yes, all perpetual calendar double chronographs work like this. Like, there's no reason they would have that experience. You could be the greatest mechanic working on Ford, does not mean you know how to work a Lamborghini.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Maybe there's some transferable skills in there, but it's not like A to B. Totally. I get it.
Yeah. A car is a car is a car is a car. So is a watch, which is a watch. And then, of course, all associates that work in the watch industry know each other.
We do. Yeah. Well, that is true, actually.
Right. And then you guys all go to like the same summer camp, and you enjoy the same hobbies and passions outside of your workplace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
We all got our haircut at the same place. We all get our lunch at the same place.
Same tailors, same everything. So yeah, that's a key takeaway for folks to understand, is that when you do buy into a brand, you should understand that comes with its own, I won't say perks, but...
Well, I mean, it goes both ways. Yes, there's perks, and yes, there's like some hampering in there as well. There's some sort of negative ways in that if you're kind of on the outside looking in, you don't have the connections,
right? Like, and that's just a blunt way of putting it, is like, I don't know who to talk to. I remember I had my Casio ProTrack triple sensor, and it's solar powered, and it's got a capacitor inside that stores the energy. And I've had that watch for over 20 years, and the capacitor wouldn't hold the charge anymore. So it would run for a minute or so, and then it would just die out. So I had to send it out to Casio, but I can't send it to just a random address in Japan. I don't, so it's going in and
Casio, Building 1, Tokyo, Japan.
Right. Like Suite 101.
Yes.
Okay. And then I send a handwritten note with like, please fix watch. Thank you.
Please fix, and like a plastic baggie full of American dollars.
Yeah. So I had to do some research and figure out where the authorized distribution center of service watches for Casio is. And it ended up being, I think there was one in Texas and one in Los Angeles.
There's always one in Texas.
Is it?
Land's cheap in Texas. Everyone has something in Texas.
Okay. And I had to send it out, but I couldn't just on a whim do it. I needed to do my homework.
Well, and honestly, most of that information, I dealt with someone who had a Frank Mueller recently that they had bought overseas. They bought it in Germany. Bought it in Germany, bought it from a Frank Mueller authorized dealer, but the magnifier came off the date window on like a brand new watch under warranty.
Wow.
That information of where to send your Frank Mueller is not online. And it's the same with a lot of brands, because they expect you to have bought this from an authorized dealer who you can just call them. Where'd you get the watch from? Get them on the phone. Now, obviously, they bought it from an authorized dealer, but in another country. That's complicated. But there oftentimes is not an apparatus for you just sending in your stuff. That's not how they like to operate. They like to operate through authorized dealers. It's just smoother, and they don't have to deal with customers directly. Instead, they're dealing with stores who deal with customers directly, et cetera, et cetera.
You had mentioned pipelines, and so that makes a ton of sense. I'd made a video on YouTube about, visiting a watchmaker studio, and they would service multiple brands, but they had the pipeline set up with those brands to get the parts, to have the watchmakers trained in those movements, right? Going even a step further, I wouldn't feel comfortable coming to you with a watch that you don't sell or service and going, hey, Conor, could you do me a solid? Can someone take a look at this thing in the back? I just need I need a service on it. Or even going like, it's a special, beads of rice bracelet. Do you think you can take a couple links out on, again, it's very niche, it's very weird, it's very off the wall, it's not very common, but you're a watch guy, you know, and your watchmaker is a watchmaker, right? Can you guys just like help me with that? Like, one, you don't have the checkpoints in place to do that, or the potential specialty tooling required to do it.
I could beat those, Rice.
Okay. Sure, maybe. But two, I personally, like, if something goes south, I don't know if I would want to give my watch that is not a very common sight at this location to someone to go, hey, go ahead and do some surgery on this.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the examples we've used so far is like, we've been talking about, you know, high-end luxury brands, Audemars and such, but the same goes for the other way too. Like, I think we mentioned in a previous episode, we were talking about Citizen Eco drives. Got to be serviced in Japan.
Yeah.
Many Seikos, certainly the Grand Seikos. You want your Zaratsu polish, you want your spring drive worked on, they don't do that domestically or in Europe or in South. It's got to go to Japan. And as far as I know, I don't think there is a way for you to just send your watch to Grand Seiko. Like, I think you need to go to an authorized dealer and they send it. Could be wrong on that, but they certainly don't give us any information to tell you, oh, by the way, when you want to send it in, here's the address, here's the phone number, here's the no, you need to come to an authorized dealer.
Yeah.
And that goes kind of up and down the spectrum of watches, you know, like there might be a similar ETA or Sellita movement in there, but like if I'm in an official capacity working on this watch, I need the specific parts by this brand. Yeah, this Rado movement is the same as this Hamilton movement with slight variation. Doesn't matter. I can't just be switching those parts around. Back in the day, of course. But nowadays, most brands, if they open it up and they see any major component that's not made by them, they just go, hey, this isn't ours and we won't work on it. Because they're not going to take responsibility for that movement just because you wanted to just put a whatever. It could be something very minor, but they're working on it. They're taking responsibility for it. And usually they're warrantying that work for at least a year. If you're spending hundreds of dollars to service a watch, they're warrantying it, because why else would you do it? Hey, we'll work on your watch and it'll be broken again in a week. No, you want to guarantee that it's going to work for a year or sometimes two, depending on the brand. The only way they can do that, and people freak out all the time. We deal with this all the time, specifically with Rolex, because if Rolex says, hey, there's corrosion on this dial, and it could be on the back of the dial, you can't see it. For us to do this work, we need to replace this dial. It's not optional. The option is either you don't do the work, we'll send it back to you. But if you want this, say it's an overhaul, and there's corrosion on this dial, you have to buy a new dial, and you're not getting the old dial back. They don't do parts exchange. I mean, they do a parts exchange, but they're not sending you back your old parts. They're super afraid of Franken watches. They're afraid of real parts on some sort of inauthentic watch. They're not going to send you old parts back. So you didn't want to buy a dial. You have to buy a dial, and you're not getting the old dial back. It's especially true when people have sentimental value. This was my father's watch. And he had this dial for 30 years. And it's not as if Rolex doesn't care. It's that they need to stand behind the work. And if there's corrosion on the back of that dial, that could get into the movement, bust up the movement. And now the watch is broken. Again, it has to go back. Rolex looks bad because your work didn't hold up. It's going to cost them a bunch of money. Like, there's all kinds of reasons why they can't do it.
And then the intangible damage that gets caused to the image of the brand.
And the truth is, and this is hard, and I would never say this to a customer, but it's like, you wanted into this club. You wanted this specific in-house movement made by one company for this one watch that's paired with these very specific parts made between these very specific years. You wanted this. You bought it. And that's awesome. But now you're in for the whole thing. The whole thing. And they set the price. If they say it's $1,000, it's $1,000. I don't have any control over that. And you bought into that. Right? That Aston Martin we were talking about earlier, those parts are really expensive. They're much more expensive than most other cars you could have bought.
100%.
But you wanted an Aston Martin, and Aston Martins run on Aston Martin parts. And they take 4 months to arrive. And they're incredibly expensive. And there's no one else you can buy them from. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you wanted the Rolex, you wanted the Aston Martin, you wanted the Audemars. But now you're in the club. And in the club, we're only using these things made by these people, installed by these people, trained in this exact way.
Yep.
And that can be like a rude awakening for a lot of people who didn't realize that. And sometimes that's not explained to them because that's not fun.
Right.
When you're buying a new watch and you're so stoked about your new watch, the last thing a salesperson, authorized dealer wants to do is be like, hey, by the way, in 10 years, but it's the truth. You do need to know that.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're buying as well.
Exactly. You're buying into that, and you need to understand the complete sort of sequence of what to expect from that product, right? From the acquisition to the, enjoyment, to the maintenance, to the upkeep, right? I mean, that's a lot of things that, maybe aren't as alluring or as glamorous to talk about, but even things like how to operate your watch, right? How to set the watch. What functions does your watch actually have?
And even simple things, people are like, oh, it's got a date function. That's awesome. Well, it doesn't know the month. It's going to 31 every month.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that. Probably not people listening to this podcast, but people are just like, oh, it doesn't know the month? And I'm like, no, and if it did, it'd be 5 times as expensive.
Right.
But like, hey, why would you know that? It's, you see day, you see time, like whatever. Like there's no reason you should know that. That's a very complex function. Track those different parameters that like annual calendars and perpetual calendars have. But it's true.
It's true. And it's I think it's a two-way exchange, though. I think it's up to the buyer to also understand that they are buying into something, and it's required reading, right? That you need to know these things if you want it to be happy and healthy and get many years of enjoyment out of it. And then I think the other half of the coin is it's also up to, the sales associate, the person that sells them the watch, to make sure that they deliver that message in such a way that is, received and understood by the buyer. Everyone's different. Everyone buys a watch or what have you for different reasons.
I kind of want to add a caveat to what you're saying here.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is 100% correct.
Yeah.
But it's the authorized dealer's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not a gray market salesman's responsibility to tell you that, because they don't work for the brand. They don't represent the brand. And I don't want to seem like I'm talking trash about those guys, because that's honest work. I'm not great. Go out there, do your thing. I'm not upset with that at all. And a lot of these people I come into my shop with these expensive watches that they've purchased from gray dealers, no one told them, but those people, they're not authorized. They're not trained. Maybe they don't even know that. They just know the price and how much it costs. And maybe they know everything about the watch and they're
busy.
Tell you, or maybe they just assumed, hey, you reached out to me to buy this. I figured you knew about it.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I was talking about like an authorized dealer, like the two-way street was buyer and seller. Buyer being me, seller being an authorized dealer. The seller, the authorized dealer, is reading me. They understand kind of like what I'm about, and then they approach and inform me in a way that makes sense to me. And now I feel equipped to be able to, give this watch a proper home and know how to run it, maintain it, operate it, etc. You're right. The gray dealer folks, again, no shade or anything like that, but they don't have the training. Share with our listeners the amount of training that you actually need to do on the monthly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so there's a lot. There's a lot of different ways it goes about it. A lot of brands send out physical trainers to come to different stores, and they host meetings, and they have you up in hotels where you do full day trainings. There's all kinds of online platforms, both for training and quizzing and all that.
That's specific to
each brand,
but
big
also
ones and small ones, expensive ones and ones of more affordable variety,
but only accessible by authorized dealers.
Correct. Correct. And we take that really seriously, because in our eyes, there's a big difference of selling a watch and being an authorized dealer. Because when you're an authorized dealer, like, I don't work for Cartier. They don't sign my checks or anything like that. But I know when I'm standing there and I'm talking about a Cartier watch, I am representing that brand, and they want to know that I did the training so I can represent the brand. Not just say what this movement is, or how long the power reserve is, or what the strap's made of, or the name of the watch. That's important, but that's not what being an authorized dealer is. It's everything else. It's the extensive history of the brand. It's knowing names and dates and places and what people need to do in order to preserve this watch and all this information, and not just about the hype pieces either.
Right. Yeah,
right.
totally.
I need to know the history of that line that you're wholly unfamiliar with because it's not hyped. Mm-hmm. Right.
While also being able to, advise on service intervals and, this also has a different strap option or bracelet if you'd like, and they look like this.
Yeah. And that exists all the way down to what we wear.
Oh, interesting.
I know in private conversations, I've many times jokingly made fun of the gray dealer uniform, which is some sort of designer hoodie and a pair of ripped jeans and some like hype Nikes, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to hate on that outfit. But you could never wear that as an authorized dealer, ever. I mean, most of the time it's a suit. Because a lot of times that's how these brands see themselves. They want themselves represented in a more business formal attire. I say suits because I'm a dude, but obviously it's not just suits.
Of course.
But it's a stepped up. It's not casual clothing.
Yeah.
It's not an off-white hoodie and a Miri jeans with Jordans.
What jeans?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, I really don't know.
Expensive.
Okay.
Saint Laurent, whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
That I know.
You know what I mean? It's nothing wrong with that outfit, except for that Cartier would never be okay with that. Rolex would never be okay with that because that's not how they see themselves. And an authorized dealer is reflecting the brand, even if you don't work for that brand, like literally.
I gotcha.
Just like if you go to an authorized dealer, again, nothing you and I joke about is I'll say like, oh, rose gold. And I'm like, not rose gold. It's not rose gold. Right? It has its own name.
Yeah.
And that name is important because that name represents something, at least to that brand.
You're right. Yes.
You know that Ever Rose is rose gold.
Yeah.
But it's not, right? It's Rolex's unique alloy.
Yep.
Right? And it has different properties. And it even looks different. And it doesn't, whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Fill in the blank.
That's
So many things.
important to the brand.
Totally.
And it might be silly if I'm like, oh, yes, the oyster case. Right, and the 904L steel. I'm like, what? I don't care about that. But the brand cares about that.
I'm sorry, are you saying stainless steel?
I am most definitely not saying stainless steel. Right, and it might be the same to the person I'm talking to. They just like the watch and they like what it represents, and whether I call it Cerachrome or I call it whatever is kind of doesn't make a difference to them because they're already sold. They already like it. But that terminology, that's all part of the training. It's all part of representing the brand. And ideally, all that comes across as you're now in this club. Your watch is not rose gold.
Right.
Your watch is Ever Rose. You know,
and I also know where to go if I want a bracelet or if I need service, right? Like I'm in this club and I know who is part of it.
Yeah.
Right. I know where to go.
Hit up your boy Conor.
Do it right now.
You need a new bracelet? Got you.
Okay. What jeans did you say? Miri?
Amiri.
Amiri. Amiri.
You'll love them. I think you'll look great in it.
Thank you. A myriad of brands that I don't know. I dig it. Okay, yeah. So that makes complete sense. And yeah, it's the moral of the story. Know what you're buying into. Know what you're signing up for, and understand that not everyone that sells a watch can provide all the ancillary things that you expect of them, like changing a battery or servicing the movement or ordering a strap or a link or getting additional information on how to operate your watch, except for an authorized dealer who employ people and expect them to complete training courses and programs and be up to date with basically everything that the brand is putting out.
Another quick example,
yes.
And I only mentioned it because it's kind of on the other side of the expense thing. Someone came in to have a new battery put into their G-Shock. It was a Mudmaster. Those Mudmasters, yeah, you can pop it up and put in a battery, but the seals that keep that thing, because it's super water resistant, they have to be put in a certain way, and they're replaced every time you replace the battery. Well, I don't stock every seal for every Mudmaster.
Yeah.
Had to go to Casio.
In Japan?
No, this was, there's a domestic thing for this.
Okay.
It still took like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
5 weeks for a battery and a G-Shock was probably unexpected. I mean, it was unexpected because I talked to the guy. But, it worked out. It was just explained to him, hey, this is what it is. I'd love to do it, but like, I'm not going to just throw this battery in there because I could make this watch not waterproof. And that's kind of the whole point of this Mudmaster. Yeah. So if you want me to do this, this is how I want it. This is how I have to do this. And you're like, oh, it's all good. I don't care. You can throw a battery in there. Nah.
No, because there's a certain level of honor, respect, and expectation between that relationship of an authorized dealer and the brand itself. And also I would assume, again, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but the level of quality of work that you're putting out, you want to be able to stand behind it.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
That makes complete sense. Again, know what you're signing up for. 5 weeks doesn't sound like a fun time to replace a battery, but it's never just replace a battery. There's so much more behind it, right? I am enlightened. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all this, and I hope that our listeners also enjoyed the info. Do you want to answer some questions?
Oh my God, is there more questions?
There's more questions. There's always more questions. Our listeners really, really like sending in questions.
Ready.
Okay, so the first one comes in from Adam Lincoln on Instagram, who was kind enough to send us the question. He goes by Watchcology on Instagram. That's his handle.
Check his Substack.
Adam says, which watch company would you like to run as CEO, and what would the first order of business be? Conor.
First order of business. Bonus check for the CEO. Great job, buddy.
Okay, what company?
I'm firing the rest of the executive board. They're slowing me down.
I see, but what company? Because I feel your bonus check kind of is dependent on which brand you're running.
My corruption runs deep.
Okay.
All right. No. Okay. So I've thought about this kind of in a different light before. I would love to be the CEO of, I'm going to go with Grand Seiko.
Interesting.
And I'll tell you why. Because I used to sell Grand Seiko watches. I really like Grand Seiko watches. Sadly, I don't own one, but I really like them.
Yet.
Yes, thank you. Yet. Did you get me one?
No, I didn't get you one, but after you service all your watches, you might buy a new Grand Seiko, maybe, right?
Good point. Maybe. Anyways, and while showing Grand Seiko watches and talking about Grand Seiko watches, they're really, a lot of people really like them.
Yeah.
They're super interesting.
Yeah.
They're very different than what's on the market in a lot of ways. There's a lot of fun ways to talk about them that is frankly missing from a lot of watches because there's a lot of poetry. This isn't just snowflakes. This isn't just rainfall, which is unique enough, but it's very much like the melting snow of Mount Iwate in August. Right? There's all
say
these
that again.
Seasons.
Say that again, but get really close to the
I don't
microphone. Okay, fine.
There's all these seasons in Japan that are extremely relevant to the watchmaking and to the dials. And anyways, the problem is their naming conventions are quite confusing. Both in their case and their bracelets and just the names of the watches. And I don't mean confusing because they use Japanese words, because those, hey, I get what this is. Omiwatari, I don't necessarily know what that means in Japanese, but I know what that looks like. I'm not mixing that word up with other ones. It's that there's so many lines, so many watches, it's very hard to keep track without a more streamlined naming conventions. If we think of a successful brand, maybe like a European brand like Omega, right? There's these big families like the Seamaster, and there's certain watches under the Seamaster family, and they come in different sizes and different colors, different materials, different water resistances, and all these different things, different movements, whatever. And Grand Seiko is the same. It's just that instead of calling it something like the Seamaster, it's called the SBGA line. Or maybe it's just called something like the Heritage. Or Adventure, which is not very specific because they don't look extremely different. I just feel like someone, okay, it's me. Yeah, it's me. I'm the CEO. I could help bring just a little bit of clarity, maybe to a non-Japanese audience, maybe to an American audience. Maybe everyone else gets it but us. I don't know. My experience of selling it is fairly limited. I only did it in one country. But there could be steps taken without dramatically altering the business from the ground up. Just some naming conventions, just a little bit of clarity, so I think people could see, okay, this is the type of Grand Seiko I like. This is the other watches associated with that line that I like. And here are my clear options. As opposed to, wow, look at this case. There's 48 watches. They're all interesting. For me to look at all of them will take a month. And then by the time I look at them all, 6 more will come out anyways. And what do you mean that one's special edition? And what the heck is limited edition versus special edition? And what the heck is an anniversary edition? It's just There's a little clarity that's lacking that I feel like if they could clear that up, they would have more success and frankly have more sales.
That's your job now. Yeah, you're the CEO. So
as a CEO, I'm hiring someone to do that. We're subcontracting out, baby.
That's the American way.
It's just, I don't need to revamp a line. I don't need to remake a movement. I don't need to reintroduce a past collection. I just want to clear it up and make it a little dang similar, especially to the casual observer of the brand. If you're into Grand Seiko, you're laughing at what I'm saying because it's so clear to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you spent hours on this stuff.
More.
You spent lifetimes on this stuff. Less. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. It's sort of like a badge of honor to be able to say SBGA-211, also known as the Snowflake here in America, titanium case, or all that. It's kind of like a badge of honor. It's a sort of, it's a flex in a way.
But you have to get deep into the brand before you know that.
Super deep.
Whereas you could just go, oh yeah, the Aquaterra. It's a little smaller than the Seamaster, but it still has water resistance. Okay, cool. I like that one. There's a white one. Oh, cool. There's a blue one too. Might get one of those. Bam. You could do that in 5 minutes.
Yep, definitely.
This brand, not 5 minutes. Not 5 hours.
Great answer.
Yeah, thanks.
I would pick Breitling. I would standardize the logo across all the bottle ranges. It would go back to the winged bee logo.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't super clear on this logo thing until I listened to the episode you did with Flavia. What's going on there? There's more than 2 logos?
Yeah. You have the stylized bee logo. You have the winged bee logo. And then you have the AOPA wings logo.
This is a podcast, but I'm making a face that goes,
yeah.
What?
You're going to look it up later.
How do I spell that word?
AOPA, AOPA.
Yeah, nah.
That's 3. There's probably more, but...
So which one's the best?
I mean, it depends on what you're into.
You're the CEO.
Oh, I'm the CEO, so clearly I would choose the winged bee logo that, I discovered as a youngling in the 90s and 2000s. AOPA, for those that are wondering, that are non-Breitling nerds, stands for Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. What you don't know, because you can't see because this is a podcast, is that Conor was making this face of like, what does AOPA even mean?
I figured it was like a Swiss word.
No. I just said what it means.
That was a long time ago. I don't remember that.
It was like 7 seconds ago.
Who can remember?
So that's what I would do. And curveball. Again, I said this in the previous podcast, but I would introduce a titanium-cased Navitimer. Standardized.
People who wear Navitimers want a light watch?
I want a light Navitimer.
You are the CEO.
And I am the CEO, okay? So I get to do... I didn't poke holes in your scenario there with Grand Seiko, okay? Don't poke holes in mine. But that's what I would do.
It's because I'm a very successful CEO.
You are. No,
so that's all you... Just standardize the logo? Does it bother you that much?
In year 1, yeah, I think that's enough. I standardize the logo and I introduce a new material in the Navitimer line. I think that's pretty good.
All right, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
All right.
God. Do you want to do another question?
Okay, yeah, we can do another one.
Let's do another question. This one got...
the COO of a... No, but very close actually. It's kind of scary how close you were. This question was sent in by Andrew that goes by Big Fat Meow's Watch Journey. He has one amazing, extraordinary Instagram handle, and we both know him. Cool dude.
Very cool dude. He says, Conor and you in a wrestling match. What? Conor and you, as in you and I, are in a wrestling match, and the winner wins their Grail watch. Who's winning, and what are you choosing? It's good. It's like I said, it's very similar to the CEO question, but slightly different.
This one involves combat sports.
This one involves combat sports. This one's blood sport, Van Damme, kickboxer style. Yeah.
Man, I don't feel like we're in the same weight class.
No, we're not, which is why it's very interesting.
Which is why I'm going to get my Grail watch, baby.
Well, you have height and you have power.
Charming good looks.
And I have agility and speed, which is the same thing.
You also have editing skills.
I have mad editing skills. I could just edit my way to the victory.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Or just, like douse myself in like Crisco and you could never catch me.
Oh.
Yeah, it is it's a specifically wrestling match, so.
You're all Crisco'd up.
I'm Crisco'd up, so.
Little greasy guy.
I will take my Patek Philippe 2499 Mark III. Thank you.
Okay, please tell me about that watch.
Well, it's the ultimate grail. Actually, Flavia fell in love with it
Before or after she fell in love with you?
after she fell in love with me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good thing she didn't make that watch first.
I think we were watching a YouTube video. It was a very high-end authorized dealer, I think in Dubai, and they were showcasing this like yellow gold on blue leather strap Patek Philippe 2499.
Tell me about this piece. What's so great about it? What's so special about it?
It's just achingly beautiful, and I kind of don't want to tell anyone anything about it. I just want them to look up Patek Philippe Perpetual Calendar Chronograph 2499. I mean, it's exactly that. I kind of gave it away. It's a perpetual calendar chronograph. It's got beauty oozing out of every single micrometer. That's the best way I can describe it. Is it's a work of art in watch form for me.
Extremely classy.
Look at it.
Yeah.
It's stunning. I mean, you can't look at it because this is a podcast, but take my word for it. Look it up. Patek Philippe 2499. That's all you need to put in. It is painfully gorgeous. And I don't know if I'd ever wear it. I think I would just stare at it, and all life and movement and actions would cease because I would just turn into a statue.
Ugh, yuck. You gotta wear it.
Just staring at it. Manual line. Beautiful. Stunning.
You defeated me in Mortal Kombat 4. You better wear the damn watch.
What?
That's how you won it.
No, it wasn't Mortal Kombat.
I think that was what he was saying.
It was buttered up wrestling.
I don't think anyone said buttered up besides you.
I'm pretty sure Andrew did.
Also, I hope you don't use Crisco as butter. Christ.
Is that not what it's used for?
Oh, God.
I don't know things. How about you? Let's say in this weird alternate universe you won, what would you be taking?
Yeah, okay. So, I guess after the fatality in our Mortal Kombat.
Oh my God. If anything, I'd be taking you down in Tekken. Okay, not Mortal Kombat, but yes, sorry, go ahead.
You done?
Yeah, I'm good. Go ahead.
Man, I would love, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure this watch totally exists. I don't think it does. I would love a yellow gold day-date with a malachite dial. And the reason I say it doesn't exist, because that does exist, I just don't think it exists in a 40 millimeter. I think it exists in like a 36 or a 38, which is fine. I just think President Bracelet, beautiful. We're getting to the place where it's like, well, how often I wear this big gold watch? But I would say all the damn time I would.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the green and yellow combination is beautiful. Love malachite. I think it's a really cool, engaging, interesting looking stone.
Is that your birthstone?
It is not, because it's no one's birthstone.
Oh, I knew that.
It's not a gemstone. It's like a rock.
I knew that as well.
So you don't quite carve it into the same kind of gemstone-y shapes, which is also cool. It's a stone dial. I really like the stone dials, particularly kind of like same reason a lot of people like meteorite dials, because they're all different. Same with stone dials, right? They're all can be different, like marble and all that. Anyways, beautiful, beautiful watch. I want it so bad. I definitely can't afford it, but if I gotta fight James for it, so be it.
With baguette hour markers or no?
I like the baguette hour markers. I don't really need to detract away from the malachite. I like the baguette hour markers on the onyx dial because it's just so black. They stand out more. But yeah, that'd be beautiful.
All right, cool, fair. So you would take a day-date yellow gold malachite, which is green, stone dial, if you were to defeat me. Unlikely, but let's say.
Sure.
And I would take the Patek Philippe 2499.
I feel like mine's much more reasonable.
I agree. I agree.
Real lofty aspirations.
I'm a very unreasonable person.
You are, because that's such a fancy watch.
Yeah. Well, listen, he said Grail watch.
But you're not gonna wear it.
But I would.
You just said you wouldn't.
Well,
also, I've seen how you dress. What would you wear it with?
I have nice, fancy clothes. I do. I just choose to dress comfortably.
Patek Philippe doesn't dress comfortably.
Patek Philippe is dead. Probably because they weren't comfortable. Patek and Philippe are both dead.
Philippe is dead. Rotting in the ground.
Yeah. If only they would have
dressed. A wool
dressed.
suit. It's itchy.
Exactly. If only they would have dressed more comfortably, they'd still be here right now, listening to us. Commending my choice of watch.
I mean, that is true.
Or gold day-date malachite, which is green. Stone dial.
I like the onyx dial too. I'd do that in a second.
Onyx dial looks cool. I mean, all stone dials, you're right. They look very unique, very interesting, very cool, and not common.
Remember we had the Eisenkiesel dial in the store?
Can you please say that one more time and add a German accent to it?
No.
Did you just say Eisenkiesel?
Yeah. It was that really cool stone dial we had.
Was it on a Rolex?
Yeah, it was on a date.
Say it one more time.
Eisenkiesel. Might be Eisenkiesel.
I think you're making up German cake recipes. You're just making them up. You're just saying things right now. I don't know why. I don't understand.
Wunderbar.
Oh, yeah. Eisenkiesel. No. Now I have to look that up. But they're all special. They're all unique. And they're all very hard to get.
And very expensive.
I mean, it's a Grail watch scenario.
Right, this is combat wins.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I didn't train 3 years to lose out.
Who are you training with?
My dog. Because he's also a slippery son of a bitch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm training with Van Damme and you're training with your dog.
Van Damme's got to be like 70 years old.
Yeah, I'll still take him over your dog, though. Can your dog do the splits?
I don't think so.
Well, I've had fun. Have you had fun?
Yeah, I had a good time.
Shall we wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Thank you, Connor. I appreciate you.
Thank you, James.
And on that note, it's time to conclude this episode of the Timist Podcast Series. A sincere thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself and had some fun along the way. If you did, then please push all the buttons that will help you hear more of us in the future. And a special thank you to my co-host Connor. If you want to continue the conversation, you totally can. Find us both on Instagram. Connor is Watches and Blunders, and I'm The Timist IG. Just remember to add underscores between every single one of those words. Thanks for listening. I'm The Timist. Be well, and I'll catch you in the next one.